Hello, Shutter Squad, and welcome back to The One Behind the Lens. Today's episode is extra special because it's my final regular episode of season 1. Don't worry though, I'll be dropping some bonus episodes throughout the fall and winter, and I will be back with a full season 2 in January. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my amazing podcast sponsors and to you, the listeners. This show wouldn't be possible without your support, your feedback, and your passion for photography. I couldn't think of a better way to wrap up this first season than with my guest, Luci Dumas. Luci is a PPA master craftsman, an award-winning photographer with over 40 years of experience, a business coach, and the host of the Profitable Photographer podcast, which has now published over 330 episodes. In this conversation, Luci shares her wisdom on building a sustainable photography business and dives deep into her superpower, in-person sales. She walks us through her proven sales process from using slideshows and whiteboards in a way that makes wall portraits irresistible. We also talk about the business mindset shift photographers need, the importance of finding your niche, and how joining organizations like PPA can open doors for growth and networking. If you've ever struggled with pricing or how to deliver tangible art that clients truly value, you're going to love this episode. Welcome to The One Behind the Lens, the show for photographers building bold, beautiful businesses behind the lens. I'm Kate Biz Bestie and I got one thing to say before we begin. Luci, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This is so exciting.
I'm so excited to talk to you again because I got to meet you on my podcast, The Profitable Photographer, and I loved our time together so much. I was like, yay, and I get to be on her show and be in the hot seat. So thank
Yeah,
you, Kate.
you're in the hot seat, and yeah, it's kind of nice like when you kind of already had a little bit of a chat, and so it's just kind of like friends just chatting again.
That's right. No big
S-
whoop, just
No big whoop.
coffee talk.
Yes, yes.
Coffee talk. I've got my coffee here.
You
So,
do, and you're ready to go. Yes.
yes.
So, Luci, you've been a full-time photographer for over 40 years. Can you share a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to step into coaching alongside photography?
Thank you for asking that. So, when I started in photography in the early 80s, it was in the middle of a big recession, but I didn't really know that. So, there was nothing that told me I couldn't make it happen. A lot of people said I couldn't, it was too competitive, but I was just like, watch me. I was an editor of my yearbook in high school. I always had a crappy camera, and then I got a good camera. When I became unemployed, it was like the magic 8 ball about should I be a photographer? And it was like all things point to yes. So, and it was a very male centric business. So miss, I'm not going to let that stop me. Just charged ahead, and there were some guys that didn't appreciate it, and a lot that did. But then I loved when maybe 15 years after it started shifting. So it was an interesting time. There were advantages to being a woman in the wedding industry. I started in weddings because a lot of women liked the idea of a woman photographer. When I hit the burnout point with weddings, I switched to babies, and there didn't used to be a lot of baby photographers. It was way before the sleeping baby burrito thing. But I've always been Aunt Lucy to kids. I love kids. And that kind of morphed into more family, outdoor on location with children, although little babies are still my first love. And then I've always mentored and coached when people ask. It's just my nature. Probably in kindergarten, I was showing somebody, how to pick the color blue. I don't know. It's just my style. And it's just whatever you get those bolts out of the blue from the universe or angels or just your own knowledge that it was time to officially help others. I went to a workshop, a day-long workshop, and thought my goals were going to be to grow my photography business. And in talking to the coach, when everybody else was really excited about whatever they were doing, and I was kind of like, meh, she asked me what else was calling me. And I said, I feel like I need to be teaching or coaching. And as we talked, I was crying. And she said, you can replace your income or what would we call it? Supplement with
Supplement.
coaching.
Mm-hmm.
People will learn more when they pay you and have structure, and your heart won't be happy if you don't do it. So I dove in. The fun thing, I love to learn new things. So there were all these things I didn't know about the world of education and coaching. So I went to workshops and things, which I did and still do in my photography career. So I believe in learning from people who are ahead of you or just know something different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, super fun. And then about 6 years ago, I got that same little bolt of lightning that it was time to do a podcast. And it's so fun because people have listened in 110 countries.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so just thrills me to be able to sit in my chair rather than traveling worldwide. Yeah, and to support other people like you who have good things going on and a lot to share. So that's my story. I'm the queen of natural light. I do know how to use additional light, but I just love the freedom of finding good light. And then I'm the queen of wall portrait sales.
Mm.
Most of my clients purchase 3 to 7 wall portraits, and then about half books as well. So, and we didn't have a choice back, when dinosaurs roamed the earth about how we
Right. There was
showed
no
them.
digitals or anything like that.
Right. Now, people use proofs. When I did weddings,
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid to do in person directly. So I sent proofs home with an order, with a map of how I would do their book. But, if I could go back in time, I would use that projector I was using for the portraits and engagement sessions and just find a way to do my sales of weddings with that too. So
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's me. I live in beautiful San
Yeah.
Diego, so I'm pretty spoiled.
Yes, I feel like yes, you are very spoiled.
I have a women's photography group that's been going for 30 plus years, and we were having a leadership meeting and trying to pick dates for certain kinds of things. The girls are like, "Oh, March, it's cold in March. Oh, it might be too hot in July." And I was finally like, "You guys, we live in San Diego. I don't get what you're talking about." Not, it does get chilly and it does get a little toasty, but not like where you live in Omaha.
No, yeah, yeah. Nebraska, we get all the seasons.
Yes, to the extreme that my two
Yes.
times I've been there in the winter and the summer.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that it was the two extremes where it was super cold and super hot.
Yes.
So, Lucy, kind of going into, because you kind of hinted about in-person sales, I'd love to talk about that because you do say that your superpower is in-person sales. Can you
Mhm.
walk us through your process for like just selling that 3 to 7 wall portraits per client?
Sure. So first, I want to tell you my reasons why.
Sure.
And it's not just about more money, more money, more money. Um, but I feel that delivering finished art for people's homes is is the job.
Mm,
If
mm,
I hand over files, it's like somebody, since I said weddings, somebody buying the fabric and the thread and a pattern and handing it to you and saying, I made your wedding dress. Um, I think that having photographs of people that we love in our homes that we and those people can see every single day. We can see them when they're getting older, they're still little in those portraits. That that's one of the most valuable things people can own.
mhm.
So I have a little like 7 reasons,
Mm,
and I pretty much that was the first one. Um, is it's a gift to them. They don't really understand the value of what we do until they have it in their homes, and they don't have access to the quality labs. And I certainly would not spend an hour and a half on each image that I wasn't going to be printing or however long it takes to edit it right. So, I'm producing the the image that's the best I can make it. Number two, it is so fun to sit with people and have the projector and have a movie screen and show it to music, and they laugh and they cry and they hug me. Um, and I get to see, this is still part of the joy of sitting down, but I get to gain confidence because I see their reactions. And that tells me, first of all, what they love and that they love it. Number
mhm.
three, my work gets better. Your work gets better. When you see what clients will pay for, instead of here's everything, good luck with it, your work improves because the ones that are the winners, then you're always going to do that. And the ones you think, that's great, and they're like, nah, then you can figure out what the issue is. And also, when you see it big, you notice things that, of course, you wouldn't notice on your computer. Number four, I really believe in that family legacy preservation. I've had clients tell me that the most valuable thing that they spent in their, raising their kids was the portraits. I had, this is a sad, but I did a wedding of a friend's friend, early days, and we three of us went to lunch, and she asked if I still had the negatives from her wedding because in the divorce, the husband threw everything out. And they
Oh.
still had meaning to her, even and her children. And sadly, I'd had a flood in my garage because I have saved everything that people, the nags that people purchase. And there was water damage. There was only one image that worked. So
Mhm.
long-term value. Number
Right,
three,
right.
and a lot of times people think this is the first one, but so much more income is potential when you, because I can start with a client putting down a minimum purchase deposit plus the session fee of like 6 or 700 uh, in a comfort zone, and know that when they see the work and I do my sales magic, they it'll be a two, three, five, 10, $20,000 sale. So seeing is, I don't know, believing. Time to sit down instead of everything that goes into however you deliver and they don't like it, and they said I forgot to download, and it can get complicated um,
Mhm.
to to just deliver digital files. So, and also when I'm making more money, I can do less shoots. So I have
Mm.
more time for my life, my family, my friends. Number seven, there's better clients, not better in terms of good human beings, but people that love what I do, have the money for for the investment. For some reason, when people invest more, they treat us with more respect.
Hmm.
So it's one of those weird things in the world that I have been surprised about is that the less someone pays, the more picky they seem to be, even if, I'm exactly the same. And number eight, it's fun. It's fun to deliver these wall portraits and have people, oh, and they cry and they hug you. It's fun to sit with them and see the work. So that's my whys.
Hey, Shutter Squad, quick pause. If you're loving this conversation and know someone who needs to hear it, do me a favor. Share this episode with a friend or take a quick screenshot right now and share it on your socials. Be sure to tag me so I can cheer you on and see where you're listening from. Your shares really do help this community grow and help more photographers discover these conversations. All right, back to the episode. I do have to say, I loved when you said about how when you get to see them react for the first time, because if you are just sending them a gallery, you don't get to, I'm sure they're reacting to them, but you don't get to enjoy that. And you were talking about the
Right.
enjoyment.
I've seen people post in Facebook groups, I posted these and I haven't heard anything from them. I don't know if they like them. It's like, yeah, that's hard for
Right.
me. I need feedback. I just thought about because one of my guilty pleasures is watching the 90 Day Fiance
Oh,
people.
yes.
Because I love and I find people and how they interact so interesting. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like having a long distance relationship when you're
Mm-hmm.
sending it online
Mm-hmm.
versus being able to hug and kiss in
Mm-hmm.
person.
Right.
So,
You're right. Yes. No, it's a good
yeah.
analogy.
Yeah, just popped in my head, but I'm going to use
Yeah.
that later.
So going kind of with that, how do you think, like, what's the mind shift like that photographers need to make if they want to succeed at in-person sales instead of just delivering the digitals?
Oh gosh, there's so much packed into that. Some people are introverted or they say not socially awkward. There's a word I'm looking for, uh, but basically uncomfortable around people. Social anxiety, that's the word.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, I think, because of cell phones and all that, texting, people aren't around people and conversing as much and finding out how to be comfortable around people and talk to people. So the mindset shift, number one on that to me is if I'm going to run a successful business, A, I need to work past this. And number two, this is a good opportunity to to grow and not be locked into that. The other mindset is that selling is bad and evil and not a good thing. Because I always keep my why in mind, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm serving them. A great salesperson is giving service,
Mm-hmm.
and a wonderful, memorable experience.
And you're
There's
like a
also,
full service, like it's a full
yes,
service experience from beginning to end.
right, right. So that when they see the portraits on the wall, they're not just like, oh, look at how cute my baby is, but oh, we had so much fun doing that. And Lucy really helped us with this. And I like the aspect of building relationships. Pretty much most of my clients are by the sometimes before the consultation, just the phone call, but we're on hugging basis very quickly, or at least super friends. So yeah, I don't know if that's a mindset, but the that's a positive part of it. People have money issues. People don't think they deserve it. People are insecure about their work, so they're afraid of criticism. That was an issue that I had to work through before I could be a coach because I was very, very triggered if someone, said something, or even in my imagination that I thought
Mm,
I people didn't like who I was or what I did or something. So fear of criticism is something in our business that when we get over that and we're again serving them rather than us, it's not about you. It's not about the quality of your work. It's not validation that you're a worthy human being if people love what you do or they don't love what you do. So when we start to see our photographs as a product and not a personal validation or invalidation, whatever the word is, but I have a product, I'm going to sell it. I know it's valuable. It isn't, if they don't want it, it doesn't have anything to do with me. And I think sometimes people think they're not good enough, but to me, if you're really not, which a lot of people are much better than they think, why would you be selling it at all? You know?
mm,
So,
mhm,
but yeah, I think there's a lot of insecurity. And as photographers, most of us don't get into this because they're excited to run a business.
mhm, mhm.
Would you agree with that, Kate?
Oh, totally, totally.
Yeah, yeah. We're excited to get to do photography and get paid for it. And
Mhm,
maybe the interaction part, but we can learn to love and find creative ways to run our businesses. And being a great salesperson is just one aspect that makes everything else come together. I kind of casually photographed my cousin's daughter's wedding. She had a professional, it was his first wedding, so I did some air quotes on that. And he was fine with me doing things and even helping pose. And I told her I would do it for her if she would promise to do a book. And she said she would. And of course, it's been 2 years, maybe a little more, and she never did the book. And it hurts my heart knowing that all she has is the digital files and maybe she's
mm.
made some prints somewhere. So it's it's a personal thing. But I think that our clients, when we're willing to give that full service, they they get it, they appreciate it, and they're actually willing to invest way
Mhm.
more than they initially thought, and that might be our average. So
Also, like educating your clients, because now that in like the past 10 years, I feel like they hear digitals and that's what they think that they want. But if you're showing
right.
them like during in-person sales, like the book, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, I want that." Like they get to feel it and flip through the sample pages and all of that. It's just the education. And you don't think you need to educate your clients, but you do.
Yes, because for most of them, they've never hired a full professional. Although I think a lot of the current generation of, let's say, brides and moms had those of their parents did a lot of those things because
Mm, mm-hmm.
uh, let's say someone's 25, so their parents maybe got married 30 years ago, and that was pre-digital. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of wall portraits were a thing. It had a big moment here in San Diego, and culturally, there was a big shift to appreciating and wanting wall art because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of photographers started doing it. And so then people would see the portraits in other people's homes and be like, I want that. So then wouldn't necessarily use that photographer, but they'd find someone doing it. So
Mm.
when some of us change, the rising tide lifts all boats. So that's
Right,
why I'm
right.
like wall portraits, in-person sales, so that we can lift us out of this trend that pretty
Mm-hmm.
naturally happened when digital came in.
Right,
It's tricky
right.
with like senior portraits
Mm-hmm.
because kids are like, they're not thinking about when they're 50 and
Right.
the importance of these photographs and that they're probably going to be lost. So I have a very specific way that I do my sales. So I have a nice projector and then I have a movie screen. My room is small, everything's on wheels. So when I meet with clients, I have a little round table and we sit around the table they're comfortable, nice looking office chairs. Then, when it's time for the sale, I move everything to the back of the room, pull down the movie screen, and make a little theater. And so the first thing we do is a slideshow put to music of, I'd say, so I normally will have them select from maybe 75 to 80 because I want 40 left in the gallery for them to have a book and wall portraits. If I narrowed it down myself to 50, they're going to narrow it down to 20. So I keep some that I know they're going to take out so that they don't take out the really great ones. Okay, so we have a slideshow with maybe 40. Put to music. One of my favorites is Kenny Loggins has a three different children's songs weaved in that always can make me cry, but some nice music. And then we go through yes, no, and maybe, and just take out any that are clearly not even maybes. If they say no to something that I know is a beautiful image, I will ask them why and address that because sometimes they're just thinking, "Oh, I'm just looking for this," and I'll be like, we're just like weeding a garden. We're just taking out the weeds so we can see what we have." Then the next round we compare similar ones. Similar ones would be like three that are all pretty good of everybody looking at the camera with similar expressions. So we do yes, like I go one, two, three, three, two, one. They take out a little bit more. And that also gives them time to kind of be settling in and seeing things. I don't go through all of them at that point, just the
Mm.
similar ones. Okay, step 4 is we categorize, and this is my secret sauce that is the thing that makes a huge difference. When I've been coaching people and they're like, my sales, they only ordered one wall part, and be like, did you do the wall small and album category? And they'd be like, well, no. Say, do that. And then their next time they say, yeah, it worked. Okay. So we separate what's remaining into highest potential. Could it be a wall portrait? If
Mm.
not, oh, you wanted this, but is it worthy? Number 2, would it only be something that could go on a tabletop? And number 3 is if you do an album, would that be the place that you would use it? And then when I get that wall group, I do another slideshow and I run through it twice. And here's the cha-ching phrase to memorize. You ready?
Yes, I'm all
Okay.
ears.
So as we look at these again, I'm going to run through them twice. And I want you to notice which ones give you a warm feeling in your heart or, just kind of sparkle. And you'll notice when it comes around again, you're going to get that same feeling. And if
Mm.
you order this as wall art for your home, you will have that feeling every day over and over again for the rest of your life. Ding,
Oh,
ding,
that's
ding, ding, ding.
good. I
Yes.
love that.
Now, another thing that's my secret sauce, and this back when we first started doing projection, the photo labs could make slide proofs. So I
Mm.
had an old-fashioned carousel projector, and the only way
Mm.
to show a size was, well, you could zoom in and out. The projectors had more zoom capacity, but I had boards in all kinds of sizes. Well, I never
Mm.
gave up my whiteboards. So at some point, when there's some images, like maybe two that are really strong, I'll get up out of my chair, I'll grab either a square or, the biggest rectangle, and I'll hold it up just about an inch away from the movie screen so that they can see it like it's already been printed and ready
Mm.
to go in their home. And people always make the noise you just made. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Even when I've
Because they
taught
can
this,
see it.
yes, and it takes it away from the digital world, the
Hmm.
computer world, the TV world, and it makes it an analog thing rather than a digital thing. Okay,
Hmm.
so then we go through the wall group after they've seen it twice, and we keep any that gave them the tingles in there, and we move the others to smaller album, or sometimes we ditch it. And then I show each one of those on a board that's still in the wall group so they can just get that sense of it. And then we start filling the order. I start thinking about with them, what could go where. Maybe there's a story group that would be nice. Let's say your children together and then individuals of each of the children. And by the way, when I photograph a session, I'm doing a lot of variety. And then I give them the total of those. And then we talk about if they want some smalls, if they want albums. Sometimes to keep the wall portrait order intact, I might just create a bundle on the fly. I know my profit margins. So I might say, hey, if we can keep this in place, I know you want that book. I'll maybe take 25% off the book.
Mm.
Uh,
Hmm.
but I'll do it like, okay, this order was 8,000 for the wall art and the book is 4, let's say. So if I could
Hmm.
do all of this for a DeCoste bundle, we'll call it, of 10,000, and I'll also include a dozen smalls. Will that work for you? So,
Hmm.
because I want the wall art. What I don't want is what used to happen where they would be like, oh, that's too much, and we want other things. So they reduce the size of the wall art and we spend this much for each 8 by 10. I like to get the wall art, kind of give them uh, a price to have the add-ons that's still going to give me profit, but
Hmm.
is going to close that wall art sale. And this is the part, my coaching client, we hadn't gotten to this. It is you need to complete the order then and get the
Hmm.
money.
Hmm.
No
Hmm.
going home to think about it. That's the other
Hmm.
thing. This is the time we're going to order, because if they go home, they can't think about it because it's a visual product. And if they're not sure on a size, then we'll complete the order with the smaller possible size. And sometimes I'll just
Oh.
say, you can pick whichever you want it. I'll charge you for the 24 by 30, but if you decide you want the 30/40, just let me know. Depends on how great the order is. But
Oh,
yeah,
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. If it's a $10,000 order and they're not sure if they want the bigger or smaller, I'll bill them for the smaller and they can have the bigger. And oh, guess what? They always say, oh, yeah, we can use the bigger one. So, yeah. Phew. So that's the thing.
That's
And
that's the process.
right. And it's important to have a movie screen that that is the square, maybe 6 by 6 or bigger.
Hmm.
You can get them portable, probably even a lot on eBay, the old-fashioned tripod kind. I
Mm-hmm.
have
Hmm.
mine in front of a window. It's a roller type,
Mm.
and I think it's 8 by 8 because the trouble, okay, so I'm gonna ask myself a question. Why don't you just use a television, Lucy? what do you
Well,
think
but all the
my
things
answer
that
would
you,
be?
well, first of all, it's not going to be big enough.
Yeah,
And all the
just
things that you just
vertical.
said about your bringing up your boards, you can't do that to a
Right,
TV.
right. And you say, have a really big TV. Well, to get a 6 foot tall TV, that'd be like 10 feet horizontally. And it would have to
Right.
be pretty darn but big. So
Right. Friend, let's be real. This podcast would still be a scribble in my notebook if it weren't for Taylor Aller. She's been in my corner through all the behind the scenes magic, helping me actually make this thing happen. Taylor is a business strategist, speaker, and the queen of helping multi passionate creatives build businesses that actually work for their lives, not the other way around. Want a taste of her brilliance? Snag her Make It Happen Planner and private podcast series, a behind the scenes look at how to create real momentum without chaos. The links are in the show notes. Trust me, you want Taylor in your corner too. Is there a certain program that you're using to show or are using like Lightroom?
all of them work when you've got a system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my yes, nos, and maybes, if I'm,
Mm.
well, I do not like Lightroom. I don't understand the cataloging. I have lost things. So I like
Oh,
to just use Bridge and Adobe Camera
okay.
Raw. They work the
Okay.
same, and I just go find the file because it could be in an exterior hard drive, it could be on this computer, um, in a cloud somewhere. So you can use Bridge, and I use
Mm-hmm.
stars. I always start with 3 stars for yes, no, and maybe.
Mm.
Yes, maybe starts with 3 stars. And then as we get to the small wall and album, then 5 is wall potential, 4 is smalls, 3 is album. I might put
Got
a
it.
2 on something just in case someone's like, there was this other one. Can we check that out again? So if in the second round it became a no, but it had been a maybe, I might put a
Mm.
2 on it.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
I when I transitioned from the carousel, iPhoto had a lot of features that were awesome. They still do. I still use iPhoto or photos. There's things
Got
in
it. Got it.
photos they don't do anymore that was in iPhoto, but in photos, I have a folder with the client's name and then the client's name wall and small and album. And you can move them easily and they just duplicate from the
Mm.
master file.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
slideshow was really easy to do and to do a second one with the wall group. So that one has worked for me. Fundy uses stars, I think, but they have a sales and Profoto would not, if I have to do online, would not deliver anything ahead of time. And I would absolutely have enough on deposit so that
Mm.
they're not just taking screen grabs and saying, well, let me think about it, and then, you know, doing
Right.
mischief
Right. Right. Yes. Yes. All the things that you can do.
with the screen grab. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, perfect. I just had a feeling that some people that were listening would be like, "Well, what is she using to show?" So, what's great about what you talked about is some of those things people already have that, so it's not something else that they have to purchase. But if they would like to, like Fundy,
Yes. And Fundy has so many cool things you can do with it.
mm-hmm.
One of the ones that's kind of overlooked is the branding tool,
Mm.
where you can download a gallery, put them all in the, I don't know, we'll call it the light box area, put your logo in one of them and say do all, and within 5 minutes you could have your logo properly placed on thousands of images.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
that's nice.
that's worth the cost of admission to me. And you can
Mm-hmm.
move it, you can lighten, you can darken. but if you have a vertical, it's gonna place it in the right place for that vertical. If you have a square, a rectangle, it's still gonna do them,
In the correct
let's
spot.
say there's just everything that it still picks the correct spot. So it's pretty cool.
Well, Lucy, going into a little bit more of your like coaching,
Hmm.
many photographers struggle with the business side, and we kind of alluded to that earlier. So they,
Hmm.
they struggle a little bit with the business side of photography. What are the most common roadblocks that you see, especially in your coaching, and how do you help photographers overcome them?
Mm. So initially, most people don't have a really clear picture of where they want to go and how they want the business to be. They might say, like, we do an exercise, and in fact, if you stay tuned, you'll learn that I'm offering some of these sessions. I call it Create the Business of Your Dream session as a gift to your listeners. So the first question is tell me how you want everything to be in your business a year from now. And sometimes I really have to pull people in, like, I never thought about it. And so it's important. I believe that what we focus on expands. And like in my business, I dabbled in a lot of different things for a while. And then I realized, oh, if I pick one of my specialties or my favorite things, I liked kids and I liked weddings. I love both. If I pick one and put all of my eggs in that basket and all my focus,
Mm-hmm.
um, the business is going to grow faster. My work will be better faster. My confidence will grow. The marketing that I do will be efforts to get wedding clients. And when I made that decision about year two, officially, it, boom, within a year and a half of that, I was making a living again and saving money to buy a house. I had a condo, but to buy the house I'm in now. So, yeah, so having a vision and then picking a lane at first. Yes, we can specialize in everything, which isn't really specializing, but to because when I decided to switch to children, I changed where I was marketing. So I wasn't doing bridal shows anymore. I was marketing in the yellow pages. And because at the time I used to get work from that and a freebie parent magazine with a really nice upscale ad. My business card had a photograph of a child instead of a bride. I started teaching about photographing children. So in the industry, I started being known as a children's photographer. So if I was trying to grow both of them, I would have to do all those things twice. And if I had a staff, if I always said I needed a work wife, because
Mm-hmm.
I did way too many things of my own. And back when it was a man's world, really the women were still running things because they were doing the sales and the bookings and the marketing, and the photographer dude was taking the pictures. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a start. And also, like already said, seeing our work as something about us personally. When we separate out our product, that's a
Mm-hmm.
big step. So, how I help people, we start, and also not pricing yourself for profit, not understanding um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that when you bring in $1,000, you don't keep $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're doing digitals, you still have expenses. So, the first thing we do is we get the vision clear and we figure out maybe what some roadblocks are. So we've got a little template for some of the things on the interpersonal level that we need to do, um, insecurities, weird ideas about money, stuff like that. And then we get our pricing and our products. The other mistake I see people, in my opinion, is doing digital only and not realizing how many sessions you would need to do at the price you're at to achieve the financial goal. So we get all of,
Mm-hmm.
there's hardscape, there's logic things. And then we work on, whatever somebody's strengths are, whatever challenges. Some of my coaching clients have had businesses for a while and they need to grow or they want to grow. So we upgrade their marketing. Right now, I have a client who is a horse photographer and she's doing really well. But what's happened in the year that we've been coaching is just some ideas, uh, getting her to do the sales my way. Her pricing was already good, so we just analyzed and simplified. So it's really easy for her to sell. And, she's having way more clients and, just a couple of little ideas like at horse shows to have winners receive gift certificates for portrait sessions. Just, so when someone's already doing great, then I'm always learning and I'm learning from other people, especially in the podcast world. Like I'm sure you're
Mm-hmm.
finding that. So I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of things and ideas for someone that wants to upgrade, but I also know how to take somebody from the start and quickly get them to, instead of like futzing around trying to figure out stuff themselves, just get the, you know, do this, do that, price this way. Oh, look at that issue. Let's dive deep into that.
Well, you were kind of talking about the podcast a little bit and about how you've because again, that's kind of how you and I are meeting and talking and learning about each other. So you've built this great platform, the Profitable Photographer Podcast. What inspired you to start it and how has it impacted your coaching business?
So I was finding that when I was a guest on a podcast, it was a great way to be discovered by
Mm-hmm.
people around the world. I've had clients from New Zealand and Australia and Canada and England because they were listening to a podcast and I was a guest.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to a 3-day workshop in Florida where I was like, okay, this is going to teach me how to get on more podcasts. And it helped me figure out a one sheet that I could send to people, both for speaking and for being on podcasts. And we do everybody in the workshop does a 2-minute presentation on stage, which is really fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and at a certain point, the head of it said to me, Lucy, I think you need to do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, he just wants me to book his big set package. But
Sure.
as he kept talking about it and I kept thinking about it, I love a good conversation. Um, and I love sharing other people's knowledge and I love learning from them. And, I got a lot of stuff up in my head and my heart I love to share. So I just decided yes. And I did imagine that there'd be more people beating down my door to book me as a coach,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, but it's a very saturated field. But what I
Mm-hmm.
found is when someone would hear about me in other ways, and then they would go to the podcast and they would listen and they'd be like, oh, I like her. Oh, she has a lot of wisdom. Hey, maybe I'll call her. Maybe I'll take her up on her complimentary session.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so it's all part of layers. I've
Mm-hmm.
heard people now, as you know, doing a podcast it's a lot of work. Even I don't do my own editing, but I have to do other things to keep it. It's like the tide. Oh, it's Wednesday. The tide's in. Boom. I got to have everything ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then just when you're like, whew, that's all done. Oh, I got it. So but I've heard people doing podcasts to get photography clients. And
Mm.
I don't know exactly how they're doing it. There's an idea there, and some people are using it well. Um,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
having a Facebook group of your ideal clients, and you're not talking about photography, you're talking about their pain points,
Mm-hmm.
you're supporting other, like for me, kids. So if I had a Facebook group, if I was promoting my kid photography, I would have a Facebook group that attracted San Diego mothers. And then I would give lots of tips about things to do for the weekend or, you know, have little guest live things if somebody, I don't know, we'd have
Right.
conversations all about
Mm-hmm.
kids. But then they'd also be like, oh, who is this person? Oh, she's a
Mm-hmm.
photographer. So
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say, I'm a photographer, you should hire me. I
Mm-hmm.
would be like, I'm a person that loves kids. I know a lot of stuff. I know a lot of people. Let's have conversations together and support each other. And oh, by the way, I'm a photographer.
With those conversations we were kind of talking about with all these photographers, experts on the podcast, what's the biggest theme you've noticed about building a sustainable photography business?
Good question. Relationships,
Mm.
creating relationships,
Mm-hmm.
relationships, networking, relationships with your clients. And then the other thing, there's a really wonderful book called Grit. And a study was done about how, what is the common thing with people that are highly successful in any industry? It was, they checked people who had rich parents, poor parents, nice parents, abusive parents, orphans, people raised in foreign countries, people raised in the South, people raised in New York, old people, young people, and none of that mattered. What
Mm.
mattered was grit, or what Daddy used to call stick to itiveness. So I think that's the first most important thing is to keep at it, keep learning, keep growing, don't give up, keep a positive when things are challenging, don't blame everything, take responsibility and say, well, what can I do now? When a
Mm-hmm.
2008, 9, 10 financial downturn happened, all the things that used to get me work, it was that perfect storm. The yellow pages didn't work anymore. The parent
Mm.
magazine closed, and I had to figure out, okay, what will work? Because there's still people
Mm-hmm.
with money. I just need to
Mm-hmm.
get to them and give
Mm-hmm.
them a reason to get in this room and have a consultation. Making the decision to go for it, and every day that you get up, make that decision again. The
Mm.
same with my podcast. Every day I'm like, okay, am I going to keep doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And, my answer keeps being yes, because it's fun for me. And I know it
Mm.
helps. It helps my guests. It helps my listeners. It helps our
Mm-hmm.
industry to be
Mm-hmm.
listening to professionals and people that inspire us. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So we kind of hinted on this that you are giving away a few little freebies. Can you let us know what those freebies are?
Sure. So if you go to my website, lucidumascoaching.com, there's a button that says gift, and there's I think, 7 big ideas for successful marketing. I can't remember what it's actually called, but it's a nice little breakdown of sort of an overview of marketing. But I would love to offer to 6 people that are listening an opportunity for that create the business of your dreams session. And it's a deep dive not only in where you want to go, but what's in the way, what are your strengths, super inspirational. It also lets you know what it's like to be one-on-one with me as a coach, just in case. But there's no like super pressure because if if it happens we're a fit and we can work it out, that's great. But if not, I love these sessions. Now, if you're listening to this 6 months later, I do offer these every month. I have about 4 available every month. So feel free to reach out and see if I've got space for you.
Oh, perfect.
And
Perfect.
you can email me, Lucy at lucidumas.com, or you can go to lucidumascoaching.com, Lucy with an I, and there's a book a 20-minute chat, or you can fill out my little form there as well. So all kinds of ways to get in touch with me.
Yeah. And
Or
I'll
you can
put all
find
of
me on
this.
Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and just give
And
me a Facebook message and say, hey.
right. Right. And I'll put all of this in the show notes too. So if people want some just clickables, I'll do this. And thank you so much for giving those gifts. Lucy, can you, and we kind of talked about Facebook, are there any other, and your websites, are there any other places that people can connect with you or if they want to dive deeper?
I'm on Instagram, the profitable photographer underscore pod, and on YouTube. But even if you're like, I'm not ready for that 20-minute, or for that longer conversation, but I have a question I'd love to ask you. Feel free to book a 20-minute call because I
Mm,
just love a good conversation. I love supporting people wherever you are, whatever you need. I'm here for you.
yay.
Yeah.
And you have, because you have done, you said 6 years of your podcast now?
Yes, episode 330 is coming up
Okay,
next month.
awesome. So definitely go check that out, the Profitable Photographer podcast. And there are a lot. Like you can, I mean, I do that too, where I haven't listened since the beginning, where I kind of got it in the middle. And so, but I'll go scrolling back to see who
Mhm.
else what you're talking about. And if it's something I'm like, ooh, yeah, especially if I'm driving, I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna listen. So
good.
go listen to that.
I believe in you, whoever's
Oh,
listening. I
yeah.
believe in you, Kate, and this podcast. And another, just if I'm doing like how to be successful, I'm a huge fan of the Professional Photographers of America and
Hmm.
my local PPSDC and state. And I would not have the successful business I have if I had not attended workshops, classes, been president and all the other things locally, gone to week-long classes. So much opportunity to learn and grow and develop confidence and improve your work. As a master photographer, master craftsman, the process of achieving those degrees grew me in ways that greatly enhanced my business and my own great feelings. I love when I'm at a convention and I've got my medals on, and so people know that they can ask me questions, or if I give advice, they
Mm,
listen a little bit. So, yeah, so
right.
join things and don't just sit back. Join and participate, volunteer, do
Right.
all the
Right.
things.
Yeah, definitely look wherever you are, look at your state and see if you have a local, because most states do. And yeah, join those because that's where I learned a lot and met local Nebraska photographers as well. Well, Lucy, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This was such a great conversation.
I love it too. You're great at this, Kate. I knew you would be.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yep.
Wasn't that an incredible conversation with Luci Dumas? I hope you are walking away inspired to think differently about in person sales and how to build a photography business that truly supports your life and your art. If you'd like to learn more from Luci, check out the show notes. You'll be able to grab her free Ideal Client Attraction Guide, and also don't miss out on her offer of 6 complimentary Create the Business of Your Dreams coaching sessions. You can also connect with her podcast, The Profitable Photographer, on YouTube or wherever you listen to shows. And hey, you might hear a familiar voice on one of her upcoming episodes. And with that, we've wrapped season 1 of The One Behind the Lens. Thank you, Shutter Squad, and thank you to my sponsors for being such an incredible part of this journey. I'll be sharing bonus episodes throughout the fall and winter, and you definitely won't want to miss one upcoming with Vicky Black of Senior Style Guide. And then in January, I'll be back with a full season 2, featuring even more stories, strategies, and behind the lens insights. And if you loved this season, please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. It not only helps others find the show, but also keeps me encouraged to keep creating for you. And of course, if you know someone who would benefit from today's conversation, share this episode with them. Until then, don't forget to shutter up and shine, friends.
Shutter